So kind of a ramp up or bounce back practice with just the shells on. Got some situational work, quite a bit of third down work, and yeah, we'll be back into the pads then tomorrow. So any questions?
Coach, Caden's nursing this morning. Anything
Look, the depth. I visited with Caden this morning, and I just told him, right now, we felt like it was in the best interest of our team, and especially this early, where he'll have a chance to either possibly sign with another team or possibly be traded. And part of it is the byproduct of some of these other guys that are playing ahead of him right now.
Do you have an idea when you want to make a decision on who starts the preseason?
Yeah, it'll be probably Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, we have the practice laid out. Generally midweek, we'll talk about the reps, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We'll play, we'll start, most of the guys, if they're healthy, we'll play everyone. But by midweek, we'll have an idea.
And that's the same for the quarterback position as well?
Yeah, wouldn't be any different.
With the safeties, what has J.L. Skinner specifically shown in the last week or so?
Well, look, he's one of, not just the only one, he's one of a handful of these guys that he's smart. He really came on in the second half of last season. He came on in the kicking game, and we started seeing him on scout team offensively. So he's playing with confidence, and he's one of the younger guys that will be pushing, and he's just got to keep progressing.
What is it about Uwazurike that you believe in him to bring him back?
Yeah, he's young. Remember, I only had that mini camp, and never the full training camp, but he's a young player we drafted, and look, and he's handled this well. He took full responsibility for it. We're in that period of time where there's a lot of mistakes being made relative to the gambling and the gambling policy, and I think the league and the communication that they provided with him, we're grateful for. Ownership here, he was out a year, and so our job now is to make sure that we're slow to get him ready back because he's missed quite a bit. But he was very remorseful, and I think that played a big part of it. I think he understands certainly the mistake he made, and he's really appreciative to be back here with this team.
Do you do anything extra with him just in terms of?
Well, he went through, just like all of these guys, he went through a pretty extensive physical. He's working on field 3 quite a bit. I just think you got to be careful of putting him back out there right away. I mean, he'll be in the meetings, of course. Now he'll be involved in everything. He's here on our roster, but I do think that we've got to look really further out and say, all right, when do we expect him to play in a preseason game?
In terms of the gambling policy itself, in terms of education and all that, do you do extra work with him, or you just?
Well, he did a ton of, and currently has to do a ton of things following up on it. So he'll probably know it more than the rest of us.
From film you've watched.
Say it again?
From film you watched of any that first year and then in college, what kind of player?
He's big. He's explosive. He's strong. I mean, he's got those traits to push the pocket, and I think he's young. So, but we see him like as an end candidate, to play inside, and we're glad it's worked out for him.
How do you see Troy Franklin progress since the spring?
He's doing well. He picks things up well. We all see his speed. We feel his speed, and so he, like the rest of the rookies, they have these glimpses or these moments where they're gaining confidence, and he had a nice play today. He's doing well.
For young players, obviously there's some practice reps with the walkthrough reps. How valuable are those for guys?
I think all of that is, and then I think when you're not in and someone else is getting full speed reps, you'd like to look at that position exactly like if you were having the rep, and try to just put yourself in the shoe. So I think it's important that they're paying attention to the plays and trying to get a mental rep if they're not in.
Sean, we know how hard Jaleel McLaughlin works, right?
Yeah.
With that, how much has he improved year 1 to year 2 in pass protection, and where's Estimate in his pass protection?
Yeah, well, listen, we've drilled it, and we're going to continue to drill it. I think they're two different cats. So with Jaleel, there's times when he's going to have to be able to pass block if he's going to be in there maybe on third down or especially 2-minute. He's certainly smart, willing. Audric, is 220 pounds, and so he probably doesn't know as much right now, maybe, and because he's new to it. But certainly he's got the stature. Now, is he a third down back? I can't tell you that relative to just the reps we've seen. Generally speaking, though, part of the pass protection is understanding protections and being smart, and then the other part is physicality and 1-2 and technique. So I think we're going to see a little bit more here in the next 2 weeks with some live reps, and it's really going to reveal itself. P. Ryan gives you kind of that flexibility because he not only can protect, but he's a viable receiver. I think Javonte the same way, and I think the two guys you mentioned are guys that are capable of doing that.
How much will that affect who gets on the field pass pro?
The plays a lot of times do. Ultimately, it's the whole product. It's the whole resume as you look at it all.
The vision with Chris Abrams' drain when you drafted him was all outside, or did you see a
It was an outside-in vision. Outside-in vision. So we think he can play inside, but we want to start with him outside. Now we'll move him around, but we have those discussions just like we do with the receivers, and I mentioned it last week. In out or out in, we do with the corner.
McGlinchey in there today?
Yeah, just had a baby, and we'll be here tomorrow.
In what areas has Zach Wilson progressed since the start of camp, even though he
I think, look, I thought he had some good snaps today, and even on Saturday, I see a guy who is pretty savvy with his snaps. You never feel a panic, so there's a calmness to him. He made a few really good throws today, and I would say a little bit of his patience, play to play.
With Paul Chesky, what have you seen from him now, second camp?
He's one of those guys that welcomes the pads, and I say this, there's some maybe things athletically he's not as gifted as, and yet when the pads come on and you get into these live reps or somewhat live reps, you check the box and said, he does his job. So today he got some good work. He's an extremely smart player. We talked about how many games Bo played at Oregon. I think Palco's played more. So he's not lacking experience. It's just those first team reps. So I think he's someone we're pleased with.
Does he have versatility beyond just right tackle, or do you like him in that?
That's the spot for him. I think that's the fit. And we see it that way. Go ahead.
As a quarterback,
Yeah.
all the quarterbacks you coach, how difficult is it to coach a guy's processor? And do some guys just get it and some guys just don't?
I don't want to go with the last one. Some guys get it better than others, and the question is how much better.
Right.
And so there's a difference between and it could be just one Mississippi, and I think that can improve. And yet there are some innate skills that you see at the college level that guys have, and others might have a lower ceiling.
Sean, because you don't hit anybody in another Sunday, I've seen fights kind of breaking out all over the league. Do you have to remind your guys, get back in full pads, hey, let's get out here and work? And
we had a good discussion about it Saturday. We got to be able to play this game, with an edge, and there's a certain amount of physicality required, and yet we just got to be smart about not crossing the line, and so do you have the discipline to go right to that edge? But they've handled that pretty well.
Are you still in installation phases? I guess, how does the evaluation?
We are. No, it's a great question. So we didn't install today because they were off yesterday. Tomorrow we'll install short yardage, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. And then I believe Wednesday we have a second round of third down, defense and offense coming. And Thursday, we have a second round of red zone defense and offensive coming. So short yardage, third down 2, red zone 2. Those would be the installation sequence days this week. And then the final day, it will be a focus on Indy.
So when you looked at your short red zone last year, I'm sure it came down to a lot of things.
It was awful.
Yeah, how much of it though is being able to run the ball consistently?
There's a number of things, and look, we got to do a better job as coaches. But we're talking first and goal inside the 9. We got to do a much better job, and we will. But generally speaking, as that field shrinks, a 2.5, 3 yard run is a pretty good play. And so, but there's a combination. If we went back and went through the whole self scout, I could give you the 11 things that we didn't do well.